to From the Capsule. My name is Manny Cabrera. The name of the channel is From the Capsule. It's just basically a reiteration of what I do, producing art, staying current. It's a lifestyle channel to some degree. I appreciate you guys coming along on the ride with me. I started it off just about drawing prompts, and after the new year, this is my first live video, and I'm finding it already. And this is something that a lot of people tell you, like, as you're kind of going through the process and doing your live videos and kind of seeing and reflecting and your life kind of changing because now you're more content creating. So you're looking at things through a different lens. I can see this channel turning into something else. But I'm here again from the Capsule, Manny Cabrera, one more time. And today's video is another one. I've already spoke about this a couple of times, and it's about AI, and kind of just like living in the future. I'm soon to be 4 decades in this game of life. And I've seen it come a long way. There was a time when people didn't have cell phones like that. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, when I was in high school, like if you had a cell phone, that was like like, this guy's, who is this guy? You know what I mean? People had pagers. When I grew up, my uncle had a pager store and a video store where people used to rent VHSs, used to buy pagers, get them hooked up because there used to be like a plan. And then in the back, they used to have 5 like phone booth call rooms where people would buy calling cards and go in there and call their, native countries. So, people from Guatemala, Panama, Dominican Republic, anything like that. Anything that was like long distance, you would have to like buy a card and then go and use one of these public phones because that's kind of the only way that it was done, I imagine. But we're living in the future. For Christmas, I got the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, and I'm gonna make a video on those. I already unboxed them, so I don't know if I can make an unboxing video, but man, they're cool. And how they record and kind of how they hinge on your ears, and you can hear things and you can ask it questions, and it's, rambling off what's coming through WhatsApp, what's coming through, your text messages and stuff like that. Braden Haken, hey, hello, how are you? Thanks for chiming in on the chat. Please like and subscribe if you like what I talk about and some of the art that's on there, on my page. Also, you can follow me on Art by Manny on Instagram. I'll leave that in the comment section, and you can kind of see my day-to-day. I post a lot of stuff on my stories, and I basically do tattoos every day for a living. But we're living in the future. I have like the Ray-Ban Meta, which is Gen 2, but they've already released like a 3rd version where there's a screen within the lens. And I was looking at a couple of people. I'm part of like this Instagram group where I think it's called like Ray Meta Uncovered or something along those lines, and it's kind of showing a lot of people that went to Art Basel, which was like a big art big art show out in Miami. It happens a couple times a year, I want to say, and it happens overseas as well. And you see people, and usually that's kind of the thing, they drop you in a city, and then you have your head in your phone, and you're kind of trying to find things. Well, now the screen is right in the lens. So like you see these people, and they're like, hey, take me to this display, take me to this gallery, and it's actually telling them, in the screen. So they're not looking away. They're being able to immerse themselves in the actual real life, see the streets, see the buildings. And then on top of that, they're able to see within the screen, within their lens, where they're going. This is amazing. This is something that is very transformative. A lot of people are not hip to it. They're not paying attention to it. I think a lot of it has to do with just our society. And I'm just speaking from my point of view and living in America. I'm a husband and I got a couple of kids. I see how there's people that have a couple of kids and a family, and they don't have enough time to look at the speed limit on the street as they're driving. Some of that's by design. Some of that is just, their life is so busy that they're just not paying attention. You know what I mean? They're not wired to have that much information, that many things to do daily. So then things are passing them by so quickly that by the time they figure it out, it's too late. It's too late. So that's part of the reasoning behind this video, behind this live this morning, that I found that I was I've always been on social media, and with the Facebook jump, like the Facebook time lapse, time hop, or whatever that is called, I see, and it makes me proud that I've always been the same person. You know what I mean? The things I used to say is kind of the same things that I say now. Did I implement them back then? No, maybe there was a lot more talk back then. I was a lot younger. I didn't have the discipline, or I feel like I maybe didn't implement the discipline. But I've always been that person where, I kind of buck the new stuff real quick. Like, no, that's just a fad, or that's just a this, or that's just a that. Even in tattoos, I started getting, I'm pretty heavily tattooed. I didn't start getting tattooed until I was like in my mid-20s, because I was like, that's just kind of whack or whatever. Just kind of like, I'm always that guy. I see something new, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that. And I couldn't tell you exactly, because I have no analysis or no charts to look at to tell you what that is. But a lot of people buck it. And then by the time you realize it, bang, it's in your face and it's in your pocket, it's in your house. If you go back and look at my first video is a video about a Tesla. I got a Tesla back in 21, I want to say 20 or 21. And that was this channel was supposed to be based upon. It was supposed to be based upon my experience from the capsule, which is basically what I considered the car to be. Like, it was just like this new capsule. And same. Like, I got the car because it was cool, it was new. Nobody really had them. So, I was just like, yo, fuck it. I ended up coming across a couple of bucks, and I got this Tesla. And I never really used all of its capabilities until recently. I would say probably within the last year. There's days where I don't drive. Literally, I jump in my car. I actually don't put in. It knows that I'm getting in the car about that time and I'm about to go to work. Put a shirt on, clown. I will when you will. And I'm pretty sure that you can't wear no shirt. But who am I to say? But anyways, so there's times where I don't drive. I jump in my car. The car already knows where I'm going. I double click the panel, the shaft that comes off of the steering column, and it takes me there. Do you know what I mean? Do you know how many people are still driving stick shift? Do you know how many people are not even paying attention to that? Do you know what I mean? And like, sooner or later, bang, all cars are like that, because it's a eat or be eaten market. We're in capitalism, where like the biggest, baddest, shiniest stuff, always people are chasing that. So, as soon as that becomes so normal for people, that's it, man. People forget to drive. I know plenty of people. I was having this conversation with someone at a cookout like a little while back. And I was like, and they're like, oh, things aren't going to come that quick. And, you shouldn't be worried. And, you kind of worried about things that are around the corner, and that's kind of going to take your life away in the present. And I'm like, fair. But, I'm not going to put my head in the sand. I'm not going to go ahead and just be like, oh, well, this is the way I live my life, and I'm going to put my head in the sand and hope that when I pull my head out of the sand, everything's the same. I think that's a little bit foolish. But, something as simple as this. I was just talking about the cell phone thing. I was talking about the beeper thing. I was talking about people, calling overseas and things of that nature. MapQuest. Before, people used to look up where they were going, print it off, get a piece of paper, and have to look at this the whole time as they're going somewhere. Shrek edits. What's going on, guys? I appreciate you guys chiming in. Like I said, please hit the like and subscribe if you like about the topics that I speak about. It's Manny Cabrera. The channel is From the Capsule. And basically, I'm just relating my experiences through my art and through my day-to-day life as, constructive member of society, if I can say enough. So anyways, and I asked people, I said, I looked around the room and I said, simple as that. Something as simple as that, MapQuest. If you had to do that today, I asked them, I said, hey, if you had to come to my house, I was speaking to my brother. My brother's much older than me, so even more so. I spoke to my brother and I said, that's right, it's another one, DJ Khaled, what it do, baby? You already know, man. And as stated before, go ahead and knock off the haters in the chat. I told them, we were in Venice, right? And Venice is a small beach town here in Florida in the Southwest coast. And my brother lives a little bit further south, Port Charlotte. It's like a harbor. It's a harbor town. But it's, I don't know, maybe 20-30 minute drive or something along those lines, and in a neighborhood. So we're not going to a specific place on 41, which is the main road that goes across all Florida. And I asked him, I said, hey, if you had to print out this, if I told you where this was and I gave you the directions, you had to go to your computer and print it out and then come try to find it, you think you'd come? And he's like, and I said, exactly my point. Everybody uses GPS now. Everybody has GPS, whether it's on their phone, whether it's on their watch, whether it's in their headphones, whether it's in their car. It is something that's part of life. It has transversed and turned into something that's a necessity for the majority of the population. And most people can't read a map. They haven't done it in so long, if they ever learned. And B, some people never even learned how to read a map. Why? Because they've had navigation from the moment that they were introduced to traveling. Okay, it's the resistance. There's a book by I want to say the artist's last name is Pressfield, or something along those lines. I'm gonna get back to you and fact check this, and I'll drop it in the comments as well. And there's a book about resistance. It says most of the things that you resist the most are the things that are going to catapult you the furthest along. It's someone that is a simple example is like somebody that works out, but they don't have a very clean diet. It's very hard for them to eat really clean, but they work out, they sleep, they do everything else, but it's very, very difficult for them to for them to eat cleanly. That resistance, why it's such a pushback, is because that's what's going to give them the most results. Waking up early. There's a lot of people that can do everything. They can perform, they can eat properly, but they can't get up early enough to have the time to do that extra move that they need to. That is the resistance. That is what's going to make you make a bigger difference than anything else. That's the reason that's the biggest problem, because that's the one that's going to catapult you the most. Subconsciously, consciously, I don't understand exactly how that works, but if you read the book, I think this guy's name is Stephen Pressfield, and it's The Resistance. I like I said before, I was resisting the AI thing for a while. I'm an artist, so I do art, and I'm an artisan, and I like to do things by hand. And I work at a shop where we pride ourselves in making original designs and making sure that the clients' ideas go through our filter, and we're producing these things originally and giving them a one of one. So I was one of those guys that's like, oh, that's kind of whack. You know what I mean? You're going to, tell the AI what to do, and then it's going to do it for you. That's kind of whack. You're not really an artist. But now that I've been dibbling and dabbling with it for a while, that's not the case. I'm an artist and I know what I'm looking for, and it's hard for it to make things for me at times. There's times where I use it for inspiration, where I use it for a different set of eyes, a different mindset, as a mastermind. If you read a lot of the books of a lot of self-help books that were written 10, 20, 50 years ago, the Napoleon Hills, a lot of those guys talk about masterminds, about you going and congregating with other people that have the same type of mindset, and or are goal oriented, but they're in a different bracket, they're in a different industry, and the mastermind would allow you guys to exchange ideas, brainstorm, and maybe come up with something that maybe you didn't think of, because from the perspective of where you were standing, you couldn't see around that corner. But this guy can, and this guy can. And that's why, you have a lot of the big corporations, big companies that have these meetings, because all these minds come together and think about the same problem, and more often than not, they come to a great solution. Well, I'm using AI to do that. I'm still designing a lot of my own stuff. I'm still sitting down with the client and getting information from them, what's important to them, looking for what type of composition they'd be ultimately happy with. I like for them to bring reference pictures of what it is exactly that they like, the shading, how dark do they want their tattoo to be, and things of that nature. But then again, I feed a lot of those ideas. Into the AI and see what it gives me, and see if it's a different perspective, and see if maybe that's something I can use. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I'm still cross-checking. I'm still in the mindset that even though you're going to use AI, you still should design yourself so you know what good design is. You should know what composition is. You should know what contrast is. You should know what all of these things are. You should know anatomy not only of the body which you're working with, but also the anatomy of the objects that you're placing on the body. Is this correct? Because if you look at a lot of the AI stuff, when you're going to look for it, when you're going to see it, a lot of the stuff is kind of off. You know what I mean? You'll make a Black Panther, and the Black Panther looks cool, but if you really get into the nitty gritty of it, you'll notice that the eye to the right is maybe a little bit off, or maybe the body is slightly off. But you would only know that if you knew the composition, because to the naked eye, if you look at it really quickly, you're not being able to tell. But if you're an artist, that's part of the job. The part of the job is to people are coming to you for your expertise of how things look and how things look good, how things are aesthetically. Just because you do a line doesn't mean it's going to be cool. You have to like aesthetically make it fit the body properly, at least in my opinion, right? So the learning never stops. The learning never stops. That's another thing, that with this AI thing, a lot of people are thinking, or I believe that a lot of people are thinking that they're not going to. Pardon me. The light goes out. This light goes out from time to time. I don't know if it's bad or what's going on, but a lot of people think that they're not going to learn, or they're not going to have to learn because AI is going to do everything for you. Well, that is the big mistake. That is the big mistake. The big mistake is that you're not going to learn, or that you shouldn't learn. On the contrary, you should be learning as much as you can. Life is fast. I opened up my prompt book today and I just flipped it to a page, and I don't know if you guys can see that. And that relates to it so much. It's ice skates, baby. You got to be skating through this thing. You got to be moving fast. You have to be diligent. You have to be learning daily, because the AI is learning minute by minute. If you're thinking that you're going to sit back on your laurels and just like type shit into the computer and it's going to do all your work for you, you're going to be one of those people that AI is going to swallow. You're going to be one of those people that are going to be saying, what the fuck happened? I may be one of those people that says, what the fuck happened? I couldn't tell you, but I'm going to try to learn as much as I can about not only how to prompt, how to speak to the AI to get the results that I need. I'm also going to start looking, deep diving into getting an AI assistant that's going to do all the stuff that's in the background, asking me questions, telling me, has this been done? Has that been done? Having it give me timelines and guidelines on things that I want to get done and what sequence I should get them done. And then to use the AI to keep me accountable, because that's what a lot of people pay trainers for, a lot of people pay coaches for, a lot of people pay for courses and stuff like that, because within the courses there's this accountability factor, and I realize that there's a lot of people that without the accountability they won't do the thing, and I've been that man and I'm still that man at times, but for some reason or another sometimes I graduate. Like, the accountability of me working out daily is beyond any help. If I don't physically move my body for at least 30 minutes, and I count with my watch every day, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's doing abs, whether it's doing cardio, whether it's working out with weights. Sometimes I do more. Most of the time I do more. But if I don't, I feel like I cheated myself. And I honestly feel that. It's not like, oh, John's not going to think, or what are people? That has nothing to do with it. It's all self-implemented, because I know that doing the sorry about that, guys. That was my wife. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes unto the Father except by Him. I agree. I agree. I agree that there's definitely a higher power. There's definitely something. There's something that's unexplainable, and that happens with emotion. That's one of those things that I could tell you, like, man, that's odd. That Emotion can move you so much. Emotion can have you do things that logically you wouldn't, but it does. And it makes you feel a certain type of way. Unexplainable. That's a subject for for another video. But add okay, awesome. Add a question and answer sticker. Um, I'm not gonna do that today. Uh, but it was asking me to put like a, I guess, a question for the people in the chat. But today was pretty good, man. Today was we're 20 minutes deep. I've had as much as 30 people on at once, so that's pretty awesome. I don't think I've ever reached those numbers. This is my first video back after the new year. And like I said, basically, what I'm speaking about here is the resistance of people to the AI at the moment. And as much as folks might hate it, might think it's a fad, might think they don't want to use it, think it's the devil, um, it's something that's coming, whether you like it or not. Okay. So my recommendation is stop the procrastination, get to learning, continue to do the things that you used to do, but just find a way where AI can help you in those terms. Find a way to ask it better questions so you can get better answers, more focal and more localized, so exactly what your career and or path you're trying to make it work for. I would say if you're trying to learn something, ask the AI, what's the easiest way to learn this? What path should I take? What books should I read? What videos should I watch? As far as like AI agents, that's something that's like even above my pay grade at the moment. Nobody's paying me to do this. This is just something that I feel is going to be a necessity for survival in the future for humans, artists, and all of us alike. If and it might sound stupid, I might sound like I'm way like this guy's pompous. This guy thinks he knows it all. If you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a copywriter, if you're an accountant, if you're a scientist, if you're a upper echelon in any way, if you're a marketer, if you're a businessman, if you are high on the horse and you think that you're gonna override this AI shit and you're gonna ride out the wave and you're not gonna need it, you are fucking sadly mistaken, my friend. This thing is coming for all industries, every industry. We're in a capitalistic society. Who can make the most money the fastest? Who can do it quickest? And who can do it effortlessly? These guys are all racing to the top. And by any means, do I feel like I deserve a place there? Like anybody deserves a place there. But at the end of the day, we're all in competition. Okay? We're all have a competitive nature in us. If we didn't, no one would drive new cars. No one would want nice shit. No one would want to dress in nice clothes. No one would want to be fit. No one would want to be the smartest guy. Okay? None of that would exist. If status didn't exist, none of that would exist. Nobody would race and waste their time, life, efforts, and funds to get to those places. So that's just a belief system that I have in me. I've always been that person. I've always been understanding that no one's coming to save me. Even though I have a very strong support system, right now I'm one of those people, and I feel blessed, lucky, and man, so much gratitude for that. That honestly, if I were to call any of my siblings, I'm the youngest of six. If I were to call any of my siblings and need help in any fashion, whether it be time, whether it be physical labor, whether it be finance, whatever it is, whether it be advice, they're there for me. But I don't use those crutches. I try not to. I'll use those when I really need them, when I've put in all my gas and I can't get out. I've put in all my gas. I've balded all my tires and I'm stuck in the mud. I need somebody to pull me out. Then I'll use them. But until then, I'm burning fucking tires. I'm balding them bitches. I'm getting new engines. I'm working on that shit. Okay? This channel is still going to be based around prompt drawing. I'm still going to do a lot of prompt drawing on this channel. I really enjoy it. It's something that I think is cool. I think it's cool for me to know what things look like, especially in particular things that I don't even know what they are, what they're used for, how many people use them, how popular these items are. So, right now, open at this page, there's ice skates and tree roots underground. Like, it's just things you don't really think about. But then once I lock them in here, and then I go ahead and do a little bit of jotting about them, and then put down a few questions and then go and find out a little bit about them and then go do the research and find out if what I drew is actually what they look like. I feel like that's a very good studious program for myself, just for the things that I'm doing. As far as like producing art on people for the rest of my life, I think that's part of my responsibility to know a whole bunch of subjects, understand why people get them, be proficient enough that I kind of know what it looks like. I kind of know the texture of these things. Are they shiny? Are they matte? Are they woven? Are they metal? I think that that's cool. I think for me, I can never know enough about any subject matter. Okay. But that's it. You know what I mean? So this video is going to be titled "Living in the Future." The resistance, I think, something along those lines, living in the future of resistance, or something along those lines. It's all about AI. It's all about you jumping on the bandwagon. And as much as you feel like you don't want to, whether it is cooperate, or you don't want to introduce these things to your life, or you don't want to, how would I say, like a lot of people like, a lot of folks' argument is, and I had this conversation with a cousin of mine, which is actually an anesthesiologist. He was just like, by you using it, you're enabling it. You know what I mean? You're giving it the information or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but I'm not gonna be the only one that doesn't use it, and then everybody's gonna swallow me whole. Like, I have to look out for survival of myself and of my family. And those are what's important to me. Those are the things that subconsciously drive me, because I've conversations that I've had with folks that don't have children. Somehow, some way, you get a battery in your back, bro. And seeing your kids happy, providing things for them, watching them reach their milestones, and knowing that that's all coming from like how you're putting up the guardrails and pushing them forward, is so rewarding. It's more rewarding than a lot of the things that I've accomplished in my own life. So that in itself pushes me to do better. You know what I mean? I want to be an example. I want to be an example amongst many things. I want to be an example to men my age that have families and are really busy, and say like, oh, well, he kind of does it, and he works, and he has a job, and he has a wife, and he has children, and he keeps it all together. It's an example. It's something to look forward to. It's a North Star. I know people that I look at and I'm just like, he does it. They don't have an issue. They're holding it together. We're all people, right? It's the North Star. I want to be an example to my kids. I want to be an example to my wife. I want her that, when I say something, that it means something, that she knows that I'm not just talking to talk. I'm not just filling the room with fucking noises. I want to have fun. I want to experience things. I want to travel a little. I want to do a whole bunch of that stuff. So the only way to do that is to keep plugging away at it. I'm not going to do a lot of those things that I just spoke about by sitting on my couch and watching fucking TV all day, and getting inebriated and passing out early and waking up hungover and not studying, and just gliding through the day and hoping nothing fucking bad happens to me. That's not the way I'm going to do or build the life that I want to build. Somebody said that the other day, in a, I think it was in a podcast or something along those lines, and he's like, the real sign of intelligence is building a life that you want to live. That's like the ultimate. You know what I mean? Like, you can be smart at books, you could be a really good mechanic, you could be a good engineer, but a lot of these guys secretly fucking hate their life. They don't really like what the fuck they're doing. They don't like the life that they're living. So they're almost like misusing their smarts or IQ. But that resonated with me. That I was just like, damn, that shit is true. And not saying by any means have I built the life that I want to live. It's a cool life. I draw pictures on people for a living. I make a decent life. My wife has a pretty good job. We go on a few vacations. My kids are healthy and smart. I have nothing to want for. I have nothing to complain about. But just because I have nothing to complain about and nothing to speak down upon, doesn't mean I shouldn't continue to work on myself, continue to work on my craft, continue to explain to others things that I've learned along the way. I have no reason to safeguard any information. The better other people get, the better I have to get to compete. I like that. I like that I don't, I have a hard time sleeping just because, like, and I know I need sleep and it's important. And yesterday I had, 6 hours uninterrupted sleep, and I woke up really early. I told my wife, I was like, man, that was amazing. I very rarely get that because I'm constantly thinking. I get it. I get it's a me problem, but it's a good problem to have for me. I would rather that than be the guy that can sleep 12 hours and then wakes up tired and doesn't do shit all fucking day because he's tired. But those are two extremes, I guess, yeah, guys, I've been on here for about 30 minutes or so. First video back again. We're living in the future, guys. We're living in the future. I have a smartwatch. I have smart glasses. I draw on my iPad with a pen that transmits all that information. I can talk to my glasses. I can talk to my watch. I can talk to my car. My car brings me places. I drive nowhere. We're living in the future. And my honest recommendation and to all those that are watching is to get on the horse. Get on the horse, learn the new skills, learn how all this new technology and all this AI can help you and benefit you and move your needle. Do those things. Take a little bit of time daily. Take 10, 20, 30, 50 minutes if you can, 5 if that's all you have, to learn a new skill, to learn something new about how you can use this to implement that and make your life a little bit easier, to maybe alleviate and free up some more time in another part of your day. Okay? Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. Procrastination is the demon. Okay? Work against the resistance. I am going to do my due diligence. I know that through here, I owe you guys a couple of drawings. I've had people drop things in the chat late in the year, last year. I think one of them that kind of keeps resonating in my head is a blue-eyed white dragon, which I think is going to be really fucking cool. I'm going to try to draw that myself on the iPad and kind of go through the process of learning dragons and where dragons come from and, where the white dragon originated and all that stuff. I'm sure it's going to give me some Game of Thrones analogies, but I'm also going to work with AI and see what AI gives me and see how cool we can make it and how many different types of dragons we can make out of this, That'll be for a later video. I appreciate everyone checking in. It's from The Capsule, Manny Cabrera. Last words to say is, if you like this, you like everything I spit, you want to see a little bit more of the art that I create and everything that's based around my life, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Drop comments in the comment section, and I'll be back on shortly. I appreciate you guys very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.